Kitik Keed'kak is the praying mantis-like alien from the Mos Eisley Cantina. Even in that wretched hive of scum and villainy, the Yam'Rii species turns heads. This transmission is going to look at both canon and legends to find out exactly who Kitik is and the impact that she has on the larger Star Wars narrative. Not much is known about Kitik in canon. It's confirmed that she's of the Yam'Rii species and is from the planet Huk. Huk is a barren planet in wild space. They're often at war with their neighbors, the Kaleesh from Kalee. That is General Grievous's homeworld. Legends expands on her origin story significantly. The Yam'Rii have a reputation of being stealthy, aggressive, and quick to violence. They're a carnivorous species that has no hang-ups of eating their enemies or even the eggs and young of other sapient species. Their violent nature expands into waging war with other civilizations in wild space, namely the Kaleesh. A war called the Huk War went on for decades. Generations of Yam'Rii and Kaleesh grew up never knowing a time of peace. A young Kaleesh warrior had enough and led his people into expelling the Yam'Rii from their planet. He was called Kaimin Jai Shalal. Most know him as the cyborg warrior that he would later become, General Grievous. Circumstances involving missing information, misdirection, and some corruption see the Galactic Republic listen to pleas from the Yam'Rii for help against the Kaleesh. They make it look like they themselves are the victims and that the Kaleesh are the only aggressors in the conflict. This leads to the Republic, and therefore the Jedi, attacking the Kaleesh. This is where Grievous's hate of the Jedi and the Republic stems from. I have a video telling his side of the story that I'll pin in the comments. If you're getting value or entertainment out of any of my transmissions, it would mean a lot if you would join the Remnant and subscribe. This transmission is about the Yam'Rii and Kitik specifically. Getting their story back on track, canon and legends converge in some facts. After whatever happened by the time of the Galactic Civil War, the Yam'Rii have spread themselves thin across the known parts of the galaxy. Kitik intentionally went off on her own, making a conscious effort to cut ties with her own species' history of savage warmongering. Canon and legends also agree that Kitik was in the bar on that fateful day where Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi would meet Han Solo and Chewbacca. Legends fleshes out the story a bit. Kitik may have intentionally gone off on her own, but she couldn't help changing her own nature. She wasn't at Chalman's Cantina that day to kick back and have a drink and relax. She was stalking prey. An avian-looking alien called Kalfanal Sandros, and I'm sure I did that disservice, had a clutch of eggs nearby. Kitik wanted them for a meal. Obi-Wan, igniting his lightsaber and putting two criminals in their place, gave Kitik the distraction that she needed. She slips away in the commotion in search of the eggs. The hunt for the eggs is inconclusive, and I don't think it really matters, as it would have no bearing on the wider narrative or even any future smaller Star Wars stories. Going back to the creation of the Cantina scene, none of Kitik's story was fleshed out at all, even the little bit that we do have from legends. The creature was called the Praying Mantis by the crew of A New Hope as a shorthand for obvious reasons. The creature was another elaborate puppet, this time puppeteered by Jack Purvis. Purvis would also play a Jawa, an Ugnaught, and an Ewok, having him appear in each of the original trilogy movies. The creature that we would eventually know as Kitik is only featured for the briefest of times on screen. A lot more alien footage originally existed and had to be cut out for pacing in A New Hope. It's a shame for the amount of creative detail that went into creating the creatures, but it was logical for the success of the movie. It wasn't until 1995 that Kitik would get a name and the beginnings of her backstory. Decipher, the company behind the Star Wars customizable card game that the teenage me wasted so many Saturdays on, released a playing card defining her full name, species, and a couple character traits. Her humble Legends foundation was built on in reference books and the ever-popular anthology Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina in 2000. The official Star Wars website put out a story called Cantina Roll Call, where even more of her background was explored. Kitik Keed'kak is a perfect example of how the Star Wars franchise and fandom can take the briefest glimpse of something cool and expand it into something far bigger. What started as a blink and you'll miss it cameo became cards, stories, references, merchandise, and a connection to the prequel movies that would come decades later. This transmission was done at the request of a subscriber. If you have a specific video that you'd like to see, drop it in the comments. Then check out this video next for more Star Wars Cantina lore.